just after we complete the Jnana Slokam. Okay, let's start with this. You can also start the Jnana Slokam yourself. Sindurarna Vigraham Trirenam Madikya Spurate Tara Nayaka Sekaram Spitamugim Apina Bakshoruham Harnibhyam Alipurnatta Sashakam Raktotphalam Bipradim Saumyam Ratna Gadastarakta Charanam Jayet Paramambikam Karunam Karunatarankitachim Tisapashankucha Pushpabana Chapam Animat Viravritam Mayukehi Rahim Bhavahe Bhavanim Jayet Padmasanastam Vadanam Padmapadraya Dakshim Hemabam Pitavastram Karakalitals Thema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankara Yuktam Satamavetam Bhaktanandram Bhavani Sri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Surabhatam Sarvasam Bhatpradatrim Sa Kunkuma Vilepana Marikushimbi Kasturikam Samandakasi Dechanam Sasarchapa Pashankusam Atesha Janamohinim Arunamalya Pushambaram Japa Kusuma Basuram Japa Vitos Maret Ambikam. Let's go to the first slide on this. We start with this verse 82. Kameshwara Prananadi Kritagnya Kama Pujita Sringara Rasa Sampurna Jaya Jalandhara Sthita. Kameshwara Prananadi. It is such a beautiful word. You know, prana is the life force or energy that animates every aspect of life within creation. In fact, the pranayama word comes, a conscious control of prana or the breath is known as pranayama. Everybody knows that. And nadi. Nadis are the energy pathways or channels that move the prana. And Kameshwara Prananadi means Bal is the vital force or energy of Kameshwara. Lalita Devi and Kameshwara are inseparable. They were like a body and prana as one unit. Lalita Sahasranamam glorifies the divine love of Devi and Kameshwari. And there are many scriptures which reinforce this concept. Now, Saundara Lahari, Slokam 28, which is one of the favorites of Kanchi Mahaprabhu, he has quoted this often. Sudha Mapya Swadya Pratibhaya Jara Mrityu Harini Pibatyante Vishve Vidishada Makadya Divishadaha Karalam Yachvelam Kabalitavataha Kalakalana Na Shambhos Tanmulam Tava Janani Tatanka Mahima Na Shambhos Tanmulam Tava Janani Tatanka Mahima. You know the story of Amrita Mantana and Shiva. He consumed the deadly poison coming from Vasuki. Parvati got alarmed and held his neck here to hold the poison. The poison stopped here, his neck became blue, and so Shiva is called Nilakanta, Nilagriva, Vishakanta, and so on. The last line in this verse says, Karalam, Shvelam, Kala Kalana, Tanmulam, Janani, Tava Tatanka Mahima. What it means is, Karalam, Krishvelam means the terrible poison of Kalakuta. Kala Kalana, there is no submission to time. Tanmulam, the reason for it is, Janani, O mother, Tava Tatanka Mahima, the glory of your ear ornament. When Shiva drank the virulent poison, his days did not end. O mother, due to the power of your Tatankam. You know, Brahma, Indra, and crores of devas had the fortune of consuming the Amrit, which conferred them immunity from frightful old age and death. But they also perish at the time of Pralaya. the cosmic distribution comes. But Shiva will not perish by time, despite having swallowed the dreadful poison, all because of Mother's Tatanka Mahima, the greatness and the power of the ear ornaments. What is important here to know is the greatness and power of Devi's Tatanka. Even the poison consumed by Shiva had no effect. He became Mrityunjaya. So Ambal is Parmeshwara's Prananadi, which means life-giving force. You all probably know Akhilandeshwari at the Jambukeshwar temple near Tiruchi, Tiruvannaikaval, one of the 5 Panchabhuta Sthalams, as they call it. It is believed that the Devi in the temple was once a Ugra Devata in deep anger. So during Adi Shankara's visit to the temple, he installed a pair of Sri Chakra Tatankas, earrings, and also the idols of Ganesha and Muruga to appease Ambal. You can imagine how old the temple is if Adi Shankara visited it. In our Sanatana Dharma, ornaments have a spiritual significance. For example, a Mangala Sutra is a symbol of marriage, and the wife is meant to wear it all her life, indicating the love and commitment the husband and wife have towards each other. It is a tradition to wear bangles after marriage, which symbolize health, luck, and prosperity. So, this is something which is, the Mangala Sutra is something which is very, very important. And it is intended as a symbol, and Tatankam too is also intended for the same purpose, to bring in prosperity and happiness. Having said that, we will go to the next word called Kritagnya. What is meant by Kritagnya? Kru is a root that means to do. When karma comes from the same word, Krita refers to actions. The sun, moon, the god of death, time, the 5 elements, these 9 are the witnesses of good and bad action. And Ambal is not separated from this action. She is very much a part of it. Hence, she is called Kritagnya, she who knows all. Bhaskaraya adds here, Krita, the actions done, and Nya is the rewards given by Ambal in terms of imparting knowledge. The next word is Kama Pujita, worshipped by Kama or Manmata. Now, when did Kama or Manmata worship Ambal? Oh, there is a story behind this. In one of our earlier sessions, I had told you that Manmata was reduced to ashes by Shiva when he shot his flower arrow on him. No, Rati, whose wife, shocked at the sudden demise of her husband, she cried and prayed to Ambal to revive him. Now, Ambal is very compassionate to revive him, but told Rati that only she could see him in physical form and nobody else. Then Ambal took away Manmada's sugarcane bow and floral arrows in her own hands. If you look at Kamakshi's idol, you have on one hand the sugarcane as a bone, and the other hand you have the 5 floral arrows. She took over the function of Manmada and she looked at Shiva with compassion, with love. So pleasingly, she acquired the name Kamakshi. Kama means love and Akshi is eye. Kamakshi is one whose eyes are filled with love and compassion. And Parameshwara, who was in rigorous tapas, he got enamored of Parvati and married her. And Subramanya, Lord Subramanya, was born to kill the Asuras. So Kamakshi is still holding the sugarcane bow, which is symbolized as our mind. Manorupeshu Kodanda Pancha Tanmatra Sayaka says Lalitha Sahasranamam, isn't it? Ropa Ikshu. Ikshu is sugarcane, which is held. Kodanda is like a bow. Manmada, who was revived by Ambal for the sake of his wife, he was not happy. He wanted to get due recognition for his role. He failed to do Shiva, but then he wanted to say that I am the one who started the whole thing, and Ambal completed. So he wanted to get recognition for his role, and the only course available to him was to pray Ambal to give him that recognition. So he started a rigorous penance. And that's the history of Kama Pujita. He was doing the penance and he was worshipping God. Kamashi was pleased and appeared before him. And Manmada, looking at Ambal, says, Amma, you burned me to ashes, revived me. Because of me, Parameshwara became enamored of you. And you had appointed me as head of love for the whole universe. Therefore, whoever falls in love, the credit should come to me. I function. So in this case also, Parameshwara falling in love with you is only because I started the whole thing. So the credit should come to me. So mother takes pity on him. So what she does, she withdraws all her powers from Kailasa and all Shiva temples and moves them to Kanchipuram. Following this, the life force of Ambal goes missing from Kailasa. Parameshwara felt depressed. Similarly, on earth too, all the Ambal statues became lifeless. So it was a very sad situation. Looking at this, Brahma came forward in support of Manmada and appealed to Ambal for restoration of her powers. Then Ambal tells Brahma, only for the sake of Manmada, I withdrew all my powers so that the role of Manmada is known to all. Now the entire world knows Manmada's heroism. So Ambal restored her power everywhere. The Shiva also became happy and all the temples were restored with sanctity of Ambal's life force. Where does the story come? Now this story is excellently narrated in Kamakshi Vilasam, the glory of Kamakshi. There are also many stone inscriptions that stand as evidence of this incident, and Kanchi Mahapariva has shared the story in his discourse. Now, many of these stone inscriptions reveal that Ambal shrines in Shiva temples are called Kamakotam. Now, to give due credit to Kama or Manmada, Ambal did two things. One is that no other Shiva temple in Kanchipuram other than Kamakotam will have a sanctum sanctorum. You will find in Kanchipuram it is very special. Shiva temples don't have separate Ambal sanity. Second, Kanchipuram should be given a new name as Shivajit Kshetram. Shivajit Kshetram, which is victory of Manmati over Shiva. So, anybody who comes to Kanchipuram will come to know of this Purana, by which Manmada's victory will also come to light. So, Kama Pujita, or penance, ultimately gave him what he really wanted. So, Manmada is recognized because of Kama Pujita. Kanchi Mahapariya has spoken extensively on this subject of Ambal being an essential part of Shiva. He also explained something else, a verse in Sri Rudram, interesting perspective. It's Krishna Yajurveda, second mantram of 10th Anuvagam. Yate Rudra Shiva Tanu Shiva Vishwaga Beshaji Shiva Rudrasya Beshaji Tayano Mrida Jivase. Now, Periva is interpreting it as, O Rudra, you have a form which includes the most auspicious form of Parashakti. which is a cure for the entire universe, and which is in unison with your form. Let that bless us to live a full life. In other words, it says there are two bodies for the Lord. One is Rudra, which is a Ghora, frightening form. And when it shows up as Shiva, it is Agora, or auspicious. And because he is also the other body, which is the one in unison with Shiva. Shiva meaning Amba here. For the above mantra, there is a Bhashyam called Vidyaranya Bhashyam. The root word Jivase means by that Shakti. Just as there are medicine for diseases, for these Ghora, frightful events of life, there is a medicine called Shivam. But even that does not cure the illness totally. We get hungry and we eat satisfied to hunger many times, right? Again, we get hungry and we have to eat again. So also, the Ghora part of life comes again and again, and Shivam part gives us a medicine every time. That medicine is called Shiva. Shiva. It is the extended Shiva. Shiva is a feminine word, meaning Amba. So, Kama Pujita is extensively explained. Let's go to the next word, Sringara Rasam Sampurna. Sringara Rasa Sampurna. Sringara Rasam means, Rasam itself means essence. Sringara is love. Sringara Rasam means the essence of love. Sampurna means filled with. The most common meaning is filled with the essence of love. There is no life without Sringara Rasam. It's a part of life. Bhaskaraya gives good interpretation. Shringa means also two horns. They are called Shringa. And Ara is petal. And Rasa, 6. So Sringa Rasa means the center called Anahata, which has twice 6 petals. Some is frequently, and Purna means remains. See, frequently remains in that center between Jalandhara and Uddiyana centers. These are chakras in the body. Also gives another meaning, which means Sringa means chief, and Arara is covering, which is to say that avidya. Sa with Sampurna, Brahman, which means Amba is both the conditioned and unconditioned Brahman. This is another interpretation given by Bhaskaraya. Let's go to the next word, Jaya. Jaya is commonly used. People have names. Jaya means victorious. The one who manifests as victory in the devotee. The common slogan is Satyameva Jayate, isn't it? Jaya is victorious. The next word is Jalantara Sthita, remaining in the Jalantara. Jal means water, as you know, and Dhara is to hold. Jalantara refers to the throat region here. It holds water. And Yoga Shastra states that Jalantara is the Visuddhi Chakra here in the throat region of the human body. There is in Hatha Yoga, there is something called Jalandhara Bandha, which is one of the energetic locks used in the yoga practice. Now, Divine Mother, Amba, resides there as the embodiment of sound here, which comes here. According to the Padma Purana, Jalandhara is a place where she is worshipped under the name of Vishnu Mukti. In fact, there is a temple somewhere in India for Vishnu Mukti. So that is the meaning of Jalandhara Sthita. Next, go to the next verse, 83. Odhyana Pita Nilaya Bindu Mandala Vasini Raho Yaga Kramaradya Ragastarpana Tarpita. Odhyana Pita Nilaya. Abiding in the center called Odhyana. We talked about this in earlier sessions. The human body has many chakras. One of the abodes of Ambal is known as Odhyana. Odhyana is the name for one of the 6 chakras in the human body. It means actually the forehead center, somewhere here, Agnya Chakra. In Hatha Yoga also there is a mudra called Odhyana. When the Kundalini, the dormant energy, which is said to be coiled up like a serpent in the Mooladhara, it crosses the Agnya Chakra, it reaches the Bindu, the region of absolute bliss. That is the Udhyana Pita Nilaya. Following that, you have the Bindu coming up. Next word is Bindu Mandala Vasini, dwelling in the center of Bindu. She resides in Bindu Mandala, which is the innermost point in Sri Chakra, also representing Anandamaya. In the human body of the various chakras, Sahasrara is at the crown, on the top of our head. It's also called Bindu Mandala. The Kundalini actually moves up from the Mooladhara to reach the Sahasrara in the crown. So the Divine Mother is in Chit form in the Bindu Mandala. Yoga Shastra also points out the presence of the Kundalini energy within the human body, and we talked about Kundalini in detail in one of our earlier sessions. Ramakrishna Paramhansa gives a beautiful example. You know, if you say that Ambal is residing in so many houses, how can she be residing in so many houses at the same time? He says, take a wealthy man. He has got many houses. He goes keeping moving from one another, but he has one of these as a favorite house. Likewise, Bindu Mandala is a favorite home of Ambal. So very simple explanation given by Ramakrishna Paramhansa. The next word is Raho Yaga Kramaradhya. Raho is secret. That is the Sahasrara. Yaga is, of course, the sacrifice or oblations. Raho Yaga Kramaradhya. Kramaradhya, worship in a particular order. So Ambal is one who is to be worshipped in a particular order in secret by sacrificial rites. Now, Shaktam, as you know, has got different modes of worship. The Shakti may be awakened by Dhyana, Bhava, Japam, and Mantra Shakti. Now, the traditions include Samayacharam, Dakshinacharam, Kaulacharam, Vamacharam. Now, the Samayacharam mode involves the secret of the Kundalini awakening through a number of powerful mantras. Ambal is in the Mooladhara chakra in our body. She vitalizes the body through the chakras. Each chakra has its own seed mantra. Now, constant repetition of this mantra, recited with concentration on the particular energy center, slowly awakens the Kundalini, and this process is called Raho Yaga or secret Yaga. It is a very arduous task and cannot happen overnight for a normal person at least. The Kundalini finally reaches and stays at the Sahasrara chakra. The devotee enjoys supreme happiness or bliss, Paramanandam. You know, if you take a musical instrument, when the chords of the musical instrument are struck harmoniously, you get fine music. Likewise, when the chords of these mantras are struck in their order, the mother who moves across awakens herself, and thus the devotee attains siddhi easily. It is very difficult to say when and how Ambal shows herself and to whom. Bhaskaraya adds another interpretation, meaning Raho Yaga means the meeting of Shiva and Shakti in a lonely place, that is the Sahasrara, and Krama, stepping into the place, Aradhya, is to be attained. That is another interpretation given by Bhaskaraya. Now, Saundarya Lahari slokam 8 also says, in the Sahasrara lotus, secret place, Ambal is sporting with her husband. Let me read this slokam for you. Sudha Sindor Madhye Suravitapi Bhati Parivrite Manidvipe Nipo Pavanati Chinta Manigrite Shivakare Mante Paramashiva Partanganilaya Bhajante Tvam Dhanyaha Katichana Chidanandalakari. Here the identity between Shakti and Chit is in the word Chidananda Lahari, the last word in this verse. Bhajanti Tvam Dhanyaha Katichana Chidananda Lahari, which means only the most fortunate few recognize you and worship you as the flood of knowledge. It's a bliss. Chidananda means flood of knowledge. So, even Saundara Lahari is supporting this beautiful word called Rahoyaga Kramaradya. Following that, we have another word called Ragastarpana Tarpita. Now, Tarpita is following Tarpana. Tarpana means or oblations, what we give. Satisfying somebody, Tripti Pandradhu in Tamil. Ragastarpana Tarpita is gratified by the secret Tarpanas or oblations. What is Ragastarpana? Ragas is secret. Just as in Rahasyam also comes from the Ragas only. Tarpana means satisfying. It is a secret Tarpana. A mantra describes it like a holding both hands, representing Prakasha and Vimarsha, brightness and darkness. The sacrificial ladle or Karandiya Unmani, yogic state, pouring out the ghee of dharma, righteousness, and adharma, and the senses in the fire of consciousness. That is sacrifice in Ragastarpana. Now, Bhaskar Raya, he adds another description. It means I sacrifice the universe from earth to Shiva in the fire of Sambit, ever burning without any fuel and ever increasing, which is dispelling the darkness of illusion, and the center from which emanates beautiful rays. This is another description given by Bhaskar Raya. But according to the method of Sri Vidya Upasana, one should only adopt this path after having recognized the higher self. The Divine Mother is very happy with secret Tarpana as the soul merges back to its original source of Brahman. So, this secret Tarpana is not for everyone. It is meant only for certain recognized individuals. So, let's go to the next verse, which is verse 84. Sadhya Prasadini Visvasakshini Sakshi Varjita Shadanga Devata Yukta Shadgunya Paripurita. Sadhya Prasadini. Sadhyaha means immediately. And prasadam is conferring. Conferring immediate grace. God is immediately gratified by the sacrifice and oblation mentioned above. Shiva, has got a name called Asutosh, very common in Bengal. Asutosh Mukherjee, Asutosh Banerjee. Asutosh means one who is satisfied immediately. So similarly, Devi's grace is immediate like Shiva. Satyaha Prasadini, immediate grace given by all to devotees. Next word is Visvasakshini. Vishwa means universe, and Sakshi is, witness of the universe. The Divine Mother is witnessing all the universal actions as they happen real time. And next is Sakshi Vardita. This is right in opposite. She herself is not witnessed, unwitnessed. There is no witness to the one who is the witness of all things. You can't have a witness to another witness. So she is without any witness herself. She is the witness of the entire universe. The next is Shadanga Devataita. Shadanga, Shad Angas means 6 limbs. Now, what are these Shad Angas? No, they are the most essential when somebody goes to war. What are the 6 limbs? One is the heart. You have to take care of it. If you are killed, then there is no war. Hridayam is one. Shiras, you have to take care of it. That's why we are helmets and other things. And they have the kind of protection for the heart and protection for the head. And Shikai, your hair. If you lose your hair, it is considered to be a shame. And Netram, you have to guard your eyes. And Kavacham, which is the armor, which people wear. And lastly, and most importantly, Astram. So these are the 6 limbs. 6 limbs meaning Hridayam, Shiras, Shikai, Netram, Kavacham, and Astram. And Devata Yukta means he accompanied by the Shaktis belonging to these limbs. Each one of these is a Shakti. Now, Shadangas also, I mentioned before, refer to the 6 Vedangas, which is Shiksha, Kalpam, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, and Jyotisha. Shiksha is phonetics, Kalpam is the ceremonies, Vyakarana is grammar, Nirukta is philology, Chandas is a meter dealing with prosody, and Jyotisha, of course, on astronomy and astrology. Now, these also have deities. Surrounded by the deities of these 6 means that the Vedas or Devi's form. So, this is Shatanka Devata Yukta, means all these 6 limbs are required when somebody goes to war. Now, the next line is a word is support of this. Shadgunya Paripurita. Shadgunya means 6 qualities. And all the 6 qualities, Ambal has got that. Paripurita. The 6 gunas are essential for a king or queen going to war. It's a lesson on the management of warfare. According to, there is a ethical code called Kamandaka, which says these are peace, war, marching, sitting in a camp, dividing forces and allies. This is a strategy. The ethical code of 6 qualities. What does it mean? Peace. First, you attempt to reach peace by sending a messenger. For example, Hanuman was sent as a messenger to Ravana first. Before Mahabharata Yuddham, Krishna was sent as a messenger from Pandavas to Duryodhana. Now, this attempt is made to avoid a war. But if it fails, then next quality is war. You have to go and fight. You have to march with soldiers, set up war camps, and have strategic development of forces. So Devi Mahatmyam describes the Shadgunyam in detail. When Ambal goes to kill Bandasura, she is an example of Shadgunya Paripurita. Later, you will get something like a word called Shiva Duti. In fact, Shiva goes as a messenger, to Shubha and Shubha. So, this strategy of 6 qualities, Chadvinya Paripurita, which is peace, war, marching, setting up camps, and dividing forces and allies, is a typical example of warfare lesson management, and it is being followed even today by countries. Bhaskaraya has another interpretation here. He says the Puranas describe Rajagunas, which are also 6. One is prosperity, another dharma, third one is fame, fourth one is wealth, fifth one is wisdom, and lastly dispassion. So he says Ambal confers these 6 qualities to her devotees. That is another interpretation given by Bhaskaraya. Nitya Klinna Nirupama. We are going to verse 85 now. Nitya Klinna Nirupama Nirvana Sukadayini Nitya Shodasika Rupa Sri Kantartha Sharirini. Nitya Klinna. Klinna means getting wet, And Nitya, of course, is ever compassionate. We always say a very hard-hearted man is said to be stone-hearted. It means he is dry, without any wetness in his heart. On the other hand, here, Ambal's heart is dripping with compassion for her devotees. You all know, Devi Mahatma says, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Daya Rupena Samsita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Daya Rupena Samsita. That Devi, who in all beings is abiding in the form of compassion, we say our namaskarams. Bhaskaraya adds one more interpretation, which is Nitya Klinna is a deity of what you call in Tamil Moonram Pirai, the 3rd day of the lunar fortnight. It's a lovely crest moon which people long to see, Moonram Pirai. This deity has been described as Nitya Klinna in the Garuda Purana. She is the one who confers happiness and salvation. So Nitya Klinna is also a name of a deity quoted in Garuda Purana. The next word is Nirupama. Upamanam we say in Tamil. Also Sanskrit word Upamanam is equal or comparable. When you say Nirupama, means without any comparison. Devi is incomparable. She is without an equal. No doubt about it, isn't it? The next one is Nirvana Sukadhayini. What is Nirvana? We heard this word in Buddhism, no? Attaining Nirvana, Buddhism is the goal, ultimate bliss, Nirvana. So Ambal is one who confers the bliss of Nirvana. Nirvana is actually body, Nir is free from the body. So here Nirvana really means without body, you reach the ultimate bliss. The next word is Nitya Shodasika Rupa. There are 16 deities, Shodasika Rupa. 16 deities. Who are they? From Kameshwari to Tripura Sundari, you have got Kameshwari, Bhagamaladi, Nitya Klinna. Nitya Klinna also is included here. Berunta, Vande Vasini, Mahavajreshwari, Shivaduti, Tvarita, Kulasundari, Nitya, Nilapatakani, Vijaya, Sarvamangala, Jwalamalini, Chitra, Tripura Sundari. These are all the 16 deities, including Lalitha, who is the 16th one. So Shodasi also refers to the 16 syllable mantras. We talked about it. Panchadasakshari mantra. This also refers to that. So Nitya Shodasika Rupa. Sri Kantartha Sharirini, which is Sri Kantasya Ardha Sharirini. Sri Kantasya Ardha Sharirini. That means possessing half the body of Sri Kanta. He forms one body with the job. In the beginning, Bhagavad Upanishad says, in the beginning was self alone. Like amoeba, it divided itself into two. And thence became the couple of husband and wife. So, Sri Kanta, Sri's poison here, or snake, Kanta's throat. Snake or poison in the throat. Shiva is called Sri Kantan, a very popular name in Karnataka. Sri also has another meaning, referring to Mahalakshmi. Sri has got two meanings. She is snake or poison. Also, Mahalakshmi Sri. So it's called Sri Kantan, means one. This refers to Mahavishnu, Mahalakshmi's husband. So it's all, the Sri has got different meanings. It has the right context. And it's all well known that Shiva gave half his body to Ambal, and hence he is known as Ardhanarishwara. So there is a beautiful temple of Ardhanarishwara on top of a hill in Tiruchengodu. It is near Erode in South India. I was fortunate to visit it 2 years ago. It's a beautiful temple. Here the deity is dressed half in male form and other half in female form. So, Sri Kanta Ardha Sarirani. Let's go to the next verse, 86. Prabhavati Prabharupa Prasiddha Parameshwari Mula Prakriti Rabhyakta Vyakta Vyakta Swarupini. Prabhavati is a very common name, luminous. Prabha means luminous. In fact, in Mumbai, there is an area called Prabha Devi. Prabha Rupa is in the form of brightness. This indicates the identity of the quality, bright. And the possessor Prabha Rupa Amba is in the form of Prabha Rupa. Prasiddha, well known, you know, that celebrated. Devi Bhagavatam says, Sarvakala Vidmavaha Nanayasri Sanatanam. All that is seen is myself. There is nothing else. Eternal. Parameshwari, another word, spouse of Parameshwara. Param is supreme, Ishwari is ruler, supreme ruler it means. Mula Prakriti. Mula means root. And Prakriti is previous. Prakriti means prior to any making. That is, which is the primary substance. To give you an example, you take iron ore. It is the basic primary substance from which iron and steel items are made in various shapes and forms. You take rice, for example, it is a primary substance from which various dishes are made, idli, dosa, upma, and everything. So, Mula Prakriti is that which is the origin, and it is a primary substance. So, Devi here, his Supreme Mother, has got the name of Mula Prakriti, which is the primordial nature. From the point of view of the unmanifest, it is called, she's called Abhyakta. She is the Mula Prakriti, the root nature of all manifestations. The Bhaskaraya provides extensive comments on this word. I'm not covering all of them. I'm going to tell you some of them. One is of the Panchabhutam, 5 elements from ether to earth. Each is the Prakriti of succeeding one. The successive evolution will show that Brahman is infinite. Taitra Upanishad says, Tasmadatva yeda satmatpana akashaha sambhutaha Akashat Vayuhu, Vayoragnihi, Agnir Apaha, Apyaha Prithvi, Prithivya Aushadayaha, Aushadibhyo Annam, Annat Purushaha. You see how the succession goes. From the self, Akasha is born, ether. From Akasha, Vayu, the air. From Vayu, Agni, from the air to fire. From Agni to water, from fire to water. And from water to earth. Abhyaha Prithvi. Prithivya Aushadiyaha. From earth comes all these plants, medicinal plants, all the plants. And from that, Aushadibhyo Annam, food. From food, Annat Purushaha. So the Shruti, from the self came the ether, and that Brahman has no Prakriti. So he is the root, Mula, the first cause. So Bhaskara also quote an Agama, Pancharatra Agama, where Shiva says, there is one mother of the universe, the mother of scriptures, Saraswati, who has no origin, and she is called Mula Prakriti. So that is another interpretation. And he says, the Samkhya Saptati, that is the Abhyakta which is subtle, without any characteristics, inanimate, without any beginning or end, capable of production, without parts, one and universal. That is another interpretation given from Samkhya Saptati. So next word is Avyakta, Mula Prakriti Avyakta. Avyakta means undeveloped, sort of inanimate. I mentioned about Avyakta before, that which is subtle, without any characteristic, without any beginning, and without any end. So, Avyakta has another meaning as given by Bhaskaraya. He is quoting Linga Purana, where he says the names of Vishnu, who is ever capable of creation, are Pradhana, Avyaya, Oni, Avyakta, Prakriti, and Tamas. So Avyakta is also a name indicating Vishnu. So the next word combines Avyakta and Vyakta together. Vyakta Avyakta Swarupini. Devi is in the form of manifested and unmanifested forms. Again, there are different descriptions of what they are. If you see Bhagavad Gita, there is a quote on that. Chapter 8, verse 18. Avyakta Vyaktaha Sarva Parvantyar Agame Ratyagame Praliyante Trattavyakta Sanjaya. So the advent of Brahma's day, all living beings come from the unmanifest source. And at the fall of the night, all again merge into the unmanifest source. So this is interpretation given by Bhaskaraya. He also quotes Matsya Purana, which says Vyakta is perishable and Avyakta is imperishable. The another interpretation given, which is very interesting, he says there are three kinds of Shiva lingas: Vyakta, Avyakta, and Vyaktya Avyakta. Devis in all the three forms. Now, three kinds of lingas are described in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. He says there are three lingas. One is called Swayambhuva, which is self-existing. Swayambhuva lingam, we call it, right? Bhadalinga is one which is picked up from a river. And Shaila Linga, it is made of stone. So these are what he calls as Vyakta, Avyakta, and Vyaktya Avyakta. Vyakta, they say, gives salvation, and Avyakta gives worldly happiness, and Vyakta Avyakta give both happiness and salvation. So it's also referred to as three Shivalingas, and Shivalingas also mean Ambal is there. So, Vyakta, Abhyakta, Swarupini. Let's go to the next verse, 87. Vyapini Vividakara Vidya Vidya Swarupini Mahakamesha Nayana Kumudaklakta Kaumudi. Vyapini means pervading, all pervading, omnipresent. So it's a beautiful name. In fact, on this name, we are completing 400 namas in Lalitha Sahasranamam. And Bhaskaraya's commentary, he is divided into 12 columns. So this is the end of 5th kala. And this kala is called Jwalini, which is in the 400, the Saubhagya Bhaskara, composed by Bhaskaraya. So next is Vividakara. Vividakara means having multiple forms. So not only pervading, but having multiple forms. Vidya, Avidya, Swarupini, the form of knowledge and also ignorance. Now, this is explained in Isha Upanishad. One who knows both knowledge and ignorance, and having crossed over death by ignorance, he attains immortality by knowledge. It is difficult to understand some of these concepts unless one is familiar with these terms and experience many of the things themselves. Devi Purana, Bhagavad Purana says, Devi is Brahman, very difficult to attain in the form of Vidya and Avidya. In another place it says, know that Vidya and Avidya are two forms of Devi. By one men are freed, and by the other they are bound. Avidya binds people. So the next one is one word really, Maha Kamesha Nayana Kumuda Hladat Kaumidi. Kumuda is like lotus, and it's a kind of water lily that opens up to moonlight. And Kaumuda means a month of Kartika, the full moon of the month Kartika. Now, Ambal is like the full moon of Kaumuda that makes the Kumuda-like eyes of Lord Mahakamesha. Generally you find the description of eyes go to Ambal as Meenakshi, Kamakshi, Visalakshi, and so on, right? But here, the difference is the eyes of Mahakamesha are described as Kumuda-like, whereas Ambal is seen as full moon, just as Abhinama Bhattar saw it, to please the eyes of Kamesha. So this is a different concept, that the eyes of Mahakamesha are described, and Ambal is actually making the eyes glad by showing up as full moon. The next verse, Ambal is compared to sun's rays. You can see that. Let's go to verse 88 now. Bhaktaharta tamobeda Bhanumad Bhanu Santatihi Shivaduti Shivararadya Shivamurtihi Shivankari. You see this Bhaktaharta tamobeda Bhanumad Bhanu Santatihi. Word. Bhaktaharta means in the heart of devotees. Tamobeda. Tamas, is darkness, ignorance. Tamobeda removes the darkness. Bharumad Bhanu Santadihi means like the sun's rays. Earlier we saw Ambal was like a moon. And in this verse, we talk about Ambal as the sun's rays. Devi is like the sun's rays, which remove the darkness from the heart of devotees. Bhakta Harta Tamobeda Bhanumad Bhanu Santatihi. One word. Beautiful Sanskrit here. You see that? Shivaduti. Shiva is her messenger. Now, when did Shiva become messenger? Markandeya Purana Devi Mahatmyam says, Shakti sent Shiva as a messenger to the demons Shumba and Shumba Vadam. So, what I mentioned as war strategy before the 6 limbs, the first is peace. Sambal tries it out by trying to make peace with Shumba and Shumba, asking Shiva to go as a messenger to warn them of disaster consequences if they chose to fight. She gives them an opportunity to make peace, but it fails. But Devi is known as Shiva Duti because she sent Shiva as a messenger. So Shiva Duti is referring to this word. Shiva Aradhya, worship by Shiva. Now Annapurni, in fact, she gives them the Annam in Kashi. Shiva worships. Shiva Aradhya. Shiva Murti in the form of Shiva, because there's no separation between Shiva and Shakti. The whole Lalita Sahasranamam is centered only on the Shiva Shakti union. Everywhere you'll find Shiva and Shakti are one. Shiva Shankari. What is Shiva Shankari mean? Shiva means auspiciousness. Shankari is one who gives Kari. Kari is giver. So, giver of happiness. Devi makes her devotees happy by removing the noose of avidya, which is bondage, and leads them to Brahman, which is to be attained by liberated souls. Next, you find Shiva Priya. Shiva Priya means beloved of Shiva. Shiva Para. Para is supreme, superlative. Beyond Shiva, to whom Shiva is supreme. Shishteshta. What is Shishteshta? This is the next line, verse 89. Shiva Priya, Shiva Para, Shishteshta, Shishta Pujita, Aprameya, Suprakasa, Mano, Vacha, Magochara. Shiva Priya, I mentioned Shiva Para, so Shishteshta. Now, Shishtas. Actually, the word Shreyas also comes from it. Shishta is referring to noble or the wise people, desired by the Shishtas, the wise. So Shishtas are those who are able to control their limbs, their eyes, the speech, and whole body, and who recite the Vedas, and who are devotees to Brahman, whose every motive directly is connected with scriptures. So such people are the one desired by the Shishtas, the wise, who love Devi. Shishta Pujita is an extension of the earlier Nama, is worshipped by the great ones. Aprameya. Prameya means Pramanam is to be known or measured, and Prameya. Aprameya is immeasurable. Swaprakasa. Prakasam is luminous. Swaprakasa means self-luminous. Ambal doesn't need any light from outside. She herself is self-luminous. Mano Vacha Maguchara. Mano means mind. Vacha is speech. So she is beyond mind and speech. Devi is beyond mind and speech. Mano Vacha Maguchara. Let's go to the next verse, which is 90. Chichakti Chetana Rupa Jadasakti Jadatmika Gayatri Vyakriti Sandha Dvaja Brandani Sevita. Chichakti. Shakti, it is the power of removing avidya or ignorance. It's also called Chaitanya. Bhaskaraya quotes in the Devi Bhagavad Puranam, where the king is that, as O king, in all beings there is a Shakti with all its power, and being without the Shakti becomes like a corpse. So the Chit Shakti is in all beings, and that is Devi's form. He's quoting Devi Bhagavata Puranam and says, there is a verse which says that in all beings there is Shakti. Shakti. The next word is Chetana Rupa. Chit Shakti, Chetana Rupa. Chetana Rupa means the form of consciousness. We have this Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Chetana Abhidiyate Namastastai 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 Namo Namaha. Devi Mahatmyam. All of you were conversant with this, they know it. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Chetana Abhidiyate Namastastai 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 Namo Namaha. We offer namaskaram to that Ambal who is in the form of Chaitanya of all, when we aids our senses. Chetana Rupa. Jada Shakti, next one. Jada has got many meanings. It means inert, material, inanimate, immobile, the energy of inanimate creation. Now she is the strength of the immobile. She is worshipped. As you all know, we have vigrahams that are made from granite, stone, which is inert material. And she is worshipped in a stone that is inert material, which is called Shakti, Jada Shakti. The Vishnu Purana is quoted by Bhaskaraya, says the energy of all beings are not to be grasped by your intellect. The creative energies of Brahman are 100 times more difficult to grasp. Brahman is only the instrumental cause of the creation of the world. The creative energies are the material cause. So except the instrumental cause, the creative energies depend on nothing. It becomes an object by itself, by its own energy. So Jada Shakti is, you can't dismiss anything as without Shakti. That is the reason we worship many of the inanimate or immobile things from nature, stone, trees. You know, there are so many things without any life, but we still worship them. Jadatmika. Jadatmika is the objective world. She is the world of the immobile. Then comes Gayatri. Gayatri, as you know, is a 24-syllable Gayatri mantra. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, I am Gayatri among all mantras. Brikasama tata samnam Gayatri chantasamaham masanam margasishoham ritunam kusumagaraha, says Bhagavad Gita. See that Gayatri is the mother of Vedas. And because she protects, Pra is the verb for protection, Ka is to sing, she protects the singer, she is called Gayatri. And mother is inseparable from Gayatri. That's why she's called Veda Mata, right? Gayatri. Yahriti. Yahriti means utterance or mantra. Yahriti. Sandhya. Sandhya means junction. When the day meets the night, the evening is called Sandhya Kalam. It also means meditation, the idea of non-separation of ourselves, that of Chaitanya. The explanation is also, men meditate Dhya, wholly summon her, so she is called Sandhya. Another interpretation given by Bhaskara is this Sandhya is the mind-born daughter of Brahma. He is quoting also Kalika Purana, which says, born from his mind, beautiful in form, having beautiful limbs, named Sandhya. She is the victorious deity of the twilights. Because she was born to Brahma, when he was engaged in meditation, known as Sandhya. The word Sandhya also means deity who is to be worshipped at the twilight. So the puja that you do for Ambal during evening time is very auspicious. Sandhya Kalam, very favored time. Dvaja Brinda Nishevita. Dvaja means twice born. Brahmin gets the names Dvijas. Dvaja Brinda Nishevita means worshipped by all the twice born. Who are all the twice born? Brahmins and birds are also called Dvijas. Now, Brahmin gets the title after Upanayanam, which is considered another birth, so it's called Dvija. Birds are first born in eggs, and the eggs hatch, it becomes the second birth. Therefore, they are also called Dvijas. So, Brahmins and birds both are called Dvija. And Sankhya, as we mentioned earlier, it is the junction, it's a kind of a sleeping state, What happens when the birds move flying throughout the day? They get fatigued. They fold their wings and enter the nest during the evening time. So the tired jivas, they quit the waking and dreaming state and get totally absorbed in Supreme Brahman and sleep. There is a quote given in Brihadaranya Upanishad. It says, Tadyata asmin akashe Shenova Suparneva Viparipatya Shrantaha Samhatya Samlayaiva Driyate Eva Mevayam Purusha Etaspa Antaya Davate Yatra Sukto Nakam Chanakam Kamayate Nakam Chanaswapnam Pashyati. What it means is, just as you see in the sky an eagle or a hawk, it goes after a long flight, it closes its wing and goes to its nest. So the person also rushes to the same goal, where he sleeps, during which he desires nothing. As the bird goes, so the jiva, connected with the results of action done, is also fatigued. And just as a bird with his flight, to remove the fatigue, enters his own nest, that is his own self, the human being, distinct from all relative attributes, devoid of all exertion caused by action. He goes to sleep. So this is the Dvijabandha Nishevita, which is meaning worshipped by all the twice born in the state of sleep, because they desire nothing during their sleep. Going further, Tatvasana Tattvamai Panchakosantarasthita Nissima Mahima Nitya Yavana Madashalini. Tattva means principles or categories, Devi is seated on principles. Tat is next one. Tattvamai. It's actually to be split up. Tattvamai. Tat is she. Who is that? What is that? The word Tat, it signifies the revolution of mind. As Devi revolves in all the buddhis, is signified by the word Tat, that. Tvam is you. She who is you. The word Tvam also signifies Devi. Tattvamasi is also used as one word, meaning you are that. The famous expression of the relationship between the individual and the absolute. It means the Brahman and Atman are only one. The basic principle of Advaita philosophy. Gagaraj Swami has got a beautiful kriti, Tattvameruga Tarama. Para Tattvameruga Tarama. It's a beautiful song in a very rare raga called Garuda Dvani, where Nagaraj Swami asks, Rama, is it in one's capacity to realize the supreme reality? What is brought out in Vedas and Shastras, it is very difficult. It's beyond one's capacity. But if you see the basic principle of Advaita, Tattvamasi is you are that. So Tvam, Pasana, Tattvamai. I, it's Devi is addressed by his word as she is mother of all. In Marathi, at home, we address mother as I. very common Maharashtrian families, you will find this. Mother is called I. I didn't realize it until I read this. I means Amma. I also means fortunate one. So this word comes from Sanskrit, I. Panchakosantara sthita, which means residing in the 5 sheets as you call, 5 kosas. Now there are 2 different interpretations. One is this, we have this in our bodies, the 5 sheets called Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Now each is involved in the preceding one. And of all these 5, the innermost last one kosha is Anandamayi, where Devi is identified. Bhaskara also says these 5 are Sri Vidya, Paranjyoti, Para, Nishkala Sambhavi, and Ajapa Mantra. Now these are also called 5 sheets. When we worship these 5 in the Sri Chakra, the last 4 Paranjyotis, they are to be worshipped individually and collectively in the other chakras which are surrounding the Sri Chakra. But the Sri Vidya is a bindu in the center. Thus, she is in the midst of the 5 sheets. In the body also, Anandamaya is a kosha which is center last, and Devi is identified. In this interpretation also, the Devi is in the bindu center, and that means Panchakosantara sthita. Nissima Mahima. No, what is this Sima? Sima means boundary, Simantam comes from the word Sima, because this is the Sima for the lion dividing the 2 parts of the hair. This Sima means boundary. Sima means boundary. Ni means no boundary. Mahima is fame. Sima Mahima means Devi who has limitless fame. Nitya Yavana, very easy to understand. She's always young. Madashalini. Madam itself means rapture, she's shining with rapture. Mada is a kind of bliss. Shamala Dandagam, for those of you who know, that it says that Mata Maragata Shama, Matangi Madashalini, Kuryat Katasham Kalyani, Kadamba Vanavasini. There it says Mata Maragata Shama, Matangi Madashalini. The first slogam ever composed by Kalidasa after he was blessed by Kali. Beautiful Shamala. You must read it. The beauty is not only in Sanskrit but the meaning. It all comes from Mata Maraka Dashama, Matangi, Madashalini, Kuryat Katasham, Kalyani, Kadamba Vanavasini. We mentioned about Kadamba Vanam earlier. Now we come to the next slokam, which is 92. We are coming almost to the end. Mada Gurnita Raktakshi, Mada Padala Gandabuhu, Chandratra Diktangi, Champeya Kusmapriya, Mada Gurnita Raktakshi. Raktakshi, eyes are red and eyes are rolling with rapture. Gurna means rolling, turning away from worldly things. Our eyes become red. Mada Padala Gandabuhu. Our cheeks are blushing. When you are happy, the cheeks blush. Mada Padala Gandabuhu. Chandram, is sandal paste. Our body is smeared with sandal paste. Champeya Kusmapriya, fond of Champaka flower. Kusuma is flower. And Champeya is Champaka flower. Champangi flower. In Bangalore, Malleshwaram, you got a Champaki road where you get all this Champaka Pushpam. Beautiful. The flower is not only beautiful, but it's also very fragrant. You can see the picture in the slide. And that is a beautiful flower. And Ambal is very fond. In fact, once I took 1008 flowers from that Bangalore market to my guru, Adana Swamigal, for doing a Chandi Homam. And this flower is very, very, considers very, not only beautiful, but it is considered to be a very favorite of Ambal. Next verse, which is I think the last verse number, Kusala Komalakara Kurukulla Kuleshwari Kula Kundalaya Kaulamarga Tatpara Sevita. Kusalam. Kusala is skillful or intelligent. Komalakara. Komala means graceful appearance, graceful appearance. Kurukulla. Kurukulla means what? Ambal is located in the time called Vimarsamaya, the Sri Chakra. It's a space between the walls of Chit and Ahankara. It's called Kurukulla. Kuleshwari. Kula means clan, She who is the goddess for a clan. So, Kurukulla, she is a goddess for a Kula. Kula also means a triad, the known, the knowing and the knowledge. Devi is the ruler of Kula Kundalaya, abiding in the Kula Kunda. Kula Kunda is a Bindu, which is center. It's like the small cavity, center of the pericarp of the lotus. Alaya is the place of rest. Alaya in Tamil also means a temple, which is a place of rest. Acharya says in the Saundarya, after reaching your own place, he talks about Kundalini. After reaching your own place, assuming the form of a coiled serpent, you sleep in the cavity of Kulakanda. The cavity of Kulakanda. Kaula Marga Tatpara Sevita. This Ambal is worshipped by those who are devoted to the Kaula path. Marga means the path handed down by family tradition. Kula is the family tradition. So there are also main modes of worship called Samaya, Mishra, and Kaula. And that is also Kaula Marga. So the different modes of worship also have a devotion to the Kaula Marga. It is sought out by the Kaulas. Kaulas is a group. The characteristics of these modes of worship, they are all mentioned in the Tantras. So, Kaula Marga Tatpar Sevita is indicating that Ambal is worshipped by those who are devoted to the Kaula path. So, with this, we have now completed how many? 93 verses and 441 namas. So in this session alone, we covered just 11 verses in a matter of about an hour and a half and 69 namas. We will continue further our session 9 next month on February. I think the date may be decided by SVBF North because there is some discussion going on about changing the timing. So I leave it to them to announce a new date. So with that, I'm coming to the end of this session 8. So let me conclude with prayers. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadike Saranye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Parashakti Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Parashakti Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Parashakti Om Shakti Om Shakti Om Usti Prajapa Pariyarundam Nayena Margena Mahim Sa O Brahman to so Loka Samastha Sukino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukino Bhavantu
Mangalam Guru Shri Chandramaulishwar ke Shakti Ganapati Sharadambigai Shankaracharya ke Shakti Ganapati Mahaganapati Sharadambigai ke Kala Bhairava ke Kali Durgai ke Veera Dheera Shura Hanuma Maruti Charanatirke Mallikarjunarke Selva Janardanarke Amba Bhavani Kambada Ganapati Chandi Chamundi ke Shri Krishna Bhagavan ke श्रीचक्रवासिनिके सीताराम लक्ष्मण सहित मारुति चरणतिके विद्यारण्यर्के विद्याशंकरर्के वागीश्वरिके वज्रदेग गरुड आंजनेयर्के श्रीवल्ली देवसेना समेत सुब्रह्मण्यर्के तुंगभद्रैके श्रृंगनिवासिनिके श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே सच्चिदानंद शिव अभिनव नृसिंह भारती के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु सार्वभौमर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विद्यातीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु भारती तीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विदुशेखर भारती के मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वर के शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिक शंकराचार्यर के शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाम्बिகை के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you again. Until we meet next month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Om Sri Matre Namaha.